What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy MrBaboon back with a reaction video. This time we are doing dangerous criminals that are still on the loose. And this was uploaded a month ago, and this is uploaded by Trust Me Bro. I will have the channel link down below and the video link down below in the description if you guys want to check it out. Make sure you guys do go check out this channel, all that good stuff down below in the description. So check it out, don't forget that. I think with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the reaction. So, let's go ahead and like. Full screen, there we go.
Dangerous criminals that are still on the loose, or at least were never caught. If you're a Trust Me Bro fan, then you would know this list is only going to get more dangerous and more evil as the list goes on. So let's get started. On a chilly November day in 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper hopped on a Northwest Orient flight from Portland to Seattle, and he looked like any other traveler in his neat suit and tie, but Cooper had a wild plan up his sleeve. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to the flight attendant revealing that he had a bomb in his briefcase, and he demanded $200,000 cash, 4 parachutes, and a refueling truck waiting for him at Seattle. As the plane touched down, the drama unfolded quietly. The authorities, though shocked, met his demands, trading the cash, parachutes, and fuel for the release of 36 passengers. Cooper kept a few crew members on the flight, and they took off again, aiming for Mexico City. Once again, shortly after takeoff, high above the remote forest of southwest Washington, under the cover of night, Cooper made a bold escape. He strapped one of the parachutes onto his back, secured the money, and jumped out of the plane through the aft door. The plane eventually landed without Cooper, kicking off a massive manhunt. Despite extensive searches and a lot of speculation, Cooper vanished, leaving behind only a few clues, including a decaying package of $5,800 found years later by a boy near Columbia River. As you likely already know, or probably assumed by the title of this video, D.B. Cooper was never caught. I wanted to start this first segment with a story rather than just saying D.B. Cooper. One, because the story is just so interesting, and two, because I wanted to try a new format. What do you guys think? But if it wasn't already obvious, the first entry on this list is...
For a second, when it said Dan, and then right, I was like, okay, so it was like D.B. Cooper, right? Yeah, and it is. I should have said it.
D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper is likely the most famous entry on this list, and he's also the most tame entry, meaning that his actions, although dangerous and scary, were not nearly as evil as compared to the other entries on this list. But I still want to take a deep dive going into the exact danger that D.B. Cooper put people in, and the effects that this could have had.
I mean, he really did put a lot of people in danger, though. Like, for real.
If things went wrong. Okay, for starters, this was a literal hijacking on a commercial flight with 42 total people on the flight, 36 people including Cooper, and then also 6 staff, 2 pilots and 4 flight attendants. Now, it is my assumption that D.B. Cooper did not actually have a bomb, and then that was just a bluff to get the authorities to comply with his demands. But if he did have some makeshift homemade bomb in his briefcase, things could have went a lot differently. For starters, if the bomb was made poorly, it could have detonated on its own at any point, causing all 42 people to die on this plane, assuming that the plane doesn't crash over top of people and kill more people. That alone would have been catastrophic and a huge tragedy. Now, fortunately, as we know, that wasn't the case, but what did inspire D.B. Cooper to put so many people's lives in danger? Well, like we mentioned, money. He requested $200,000 cash, which in today's money is equivalent to $1.5 million, which is no small sum of money. Now, whether or not you would act on this elaborate scheme to try to get $1.5 million is up to you, but personally, I have no interest in doing anything of the sort. And one thing I find kind of ironic is that D.B. Cooper was smart. Every part of this plan was calculated and executed perfectly, which leads me to believe that he was a smart and competent individual. I say this because with the skills he had and the planning he had, I don't doubt that he could have made this money honestly. But my assumption is that he must have had some sort of incident happen in his life to make him do something so crazy, which I would love to know that story, but I doubt we ever will. Anybody who's willing to hijack a plane, risk the lives of others, and steal money, in my books, is definitely dangerous. And in the eyes of the law, a criminal, which is why I added D.B. Cooper to this video. But honestly, Cooper was kind of a class act when it came to being a criminal. He didn't make a scene on the plane to scare any of the other travelers. He allowed all of the passengers off of the plane. Many of them didn't even know what was going on. He only kept a few staff members on the plane. One of the flight attendants on the plane said that he wasn't cruel or nasty at all and that he seemed confident and nice even. And once he got his money and parachute, he was gone. When he opened the aft door of the plane, the pilots even called back to him on the PA system and asked him if he needed help. And his last words were no, and we never heard from him again. So although I do not condone the actions of D.B. Cooper whatsoever, when it comes to dangerous criminals, I think that he went about it in a very interesting way, which is no doubt why his story is so famous and which is why I wanted to have him on this list. This, in my opinion, is probably the best case scenario when it comes to a plane hijacking situation. But let's keep going. Next up on our list, we have one of the most notorious gangsters of all time and one of the most elusive criminals in the entire world. He is known as the boss of bosses, and his name is Simeon Mikulevich.
This is one of a kind.
Well, it's only the one.
If you're unfamiliar with Simeon, you're not alone, and this is likely because Simeon is not an infamous American gangster that's been portrayed in movies. He's not even American at all. He's of Ukrainian, Russian, and Israeli descent, but that doesn't mean his resume is any less qualified, or should I say blood splattered. I want to make very clear that I am not hyping up this person in any way, shape, or form. This person is not a good person. I'm simply speaking with emphasis for storytelling purposes. With that being said, let's get into some of Simeon's credentials. For starters, the nickname Boss of Bosses was not a self-given nickname. The government agencies of the European Union and the United States described Simeon as the boss of bosses of most Russian mafia syndicates in the world. And he is believed to be directing a multi-billion-dollar international crime empire. And he is described by the FBI as the most powerful and dangerous gangster in the world. Oh, yeah, and if that's not enough, he was literally in the top 10 fugitive list from October 23rd, 2009, all the way till December 17th, 2015. But after hearing all of this, you might be asking yourself, what did this knucklehead get up to that got him in so much trouble? And let me tell you, this is the exact list of charges that put him on the FBI 10 most wanted fugitive list. I'm reading this directly off Wikipedia. Fraud by wire, racketeer, influenced, and corrupt organizations act conspiracy, mail fraud, money laundering conspiracy, money laundering, arms trafficking, drugs trafficking, human trafficking, aiding and abetting, murder, smuggling, prostitution, securities fraud, filing false registration with the SEC, false filing with the SEC, falsification of books and records. And I'm sure there's more. So as you can tell, this guy's a little bit of a goofball. And I'm sure you probably noticed in that list there was prostitution. And I'm sure it means something else, but I think it's kind of funny to imagine this guy selling some ass when times were tough. But honestly, I can't judge. You gotta do what you gotta do. And if this channel goes under, I might have to do the same. Mikulevich did a lot to acquire so much wealth, but one of the first things he did to start making money was trading foreign exchange currency, or Forex, which at the time in the USSR was illegal, which he was fined and charged for, and this is likely the catalyst that got him involved in organized crime. A lot of the wealth that he controlled came from a lot of high-level corporate scams. One of my favorites including a publicly traded company on the Toronto Stock Exchange. YBM Magnex Incorporated was a publicly traded stock on the Toronto Stock Exchange, which in only a short amount of time was able to grow by over 2,000%. Seemingly a promising company and a great investment opportunity. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Mikulevich used his economics degree and deception to forge numbers in the company's accounting, making the company seem like it was growing substantially when in reality it was just laundering money. The headquarters of this company was raided once Canadian journalists caught on that these Russian mobsters were involved with this company, and the day after the raid, the company's stock became worthless almost overnight. I'm sure there was a few savvy investors who weren't too happy about this. It goes without saying that with somebody so influential, so powerful, and so rich in the organized crime world, there is no doubt that they are absolutely a dangerous individual. And because this video is focused on criminals and not killers, I figured I would keep the crimes I focused on pretty diverse. But if you are waiting for murder stories, the next entry is for you. But be warned, it is gruesome and extremely upsetting. The final entry on this list is a serial child assaulter from Australia. He is only known by the nickname Mr. Cruel, and his story is nothing less than evil. Now, if you've seen a few Trust Me Bro videos, then you would know that we use the word assault to reference something much more evil and disturbing. Something that YouTube wouldn't like me to say, and something that I honestly wouldn't like to say either. Mr. Cruel haunted Melbourne, Australia during the late 1980s and early 1990s. He's infamous for his calculated and sinister attacks targeting young girls in their homes. The way he operated was chillingly malicious. He would break into the family's homes at night, often while the family was still asleep. He would abduct, assault, and then later release the victims miles from their homes. He did this on 3 separate occasions to 3 separate victims, and the time that he kept these victims varied from 18 hours all the way up to 55 hours before they were released. What really set Mr. Cruel apart from other criminals with similar intentions was the fact that he had such a methodical approach to avoiding capture. He wore gloves and a mask, making sure to leave virtually no forensics evidence behind. He also took measures to confuse the police, like bathing his victims to remove any any traces of DNA before releasing them. He literally thought of everything to cover his tracks, including instructing the kids not to look at him and using a very monotone voice to keep his voice generic and unrecognizable. The case that he is most known for is also the most tragic and is one that is still kept a mystery: the abduction of Carmen Chan in 1991. Unlike his other victims, Carmen was never returned home and was found deceased a year later. And unfortunately, after this case, there was absolutely no more evidence about Mr. Cruel or this case. Despite massive police efforts, including Operation Spectrum, which was specifically launched to catch just Mr. Cruel, he has never been identified. The case remains one of Australia's most troubling mysteries, not just because of the crimes he committed, but also the fact that he is still on the loose today. I don't think there's any debate or any further detail required on why Mr. Cruel is such a dangerous criminal, and it's truly upsetting and disturbing that he was never caught and justice was never served. Just for context of how slippery Mr. Cruel was, when the Spectrum Task Force was created in May of 1991, over the next 3 years, the police searched 30,000 homes, interviewed 27,000 suspects, and spent a total of $3.8 million and still collected no meaningful evidence. To this very day, there is still a $1 million reward for any information on Carmen Chan. In a lot of cases that end up going cold and unsolved, it's very easy to blame the police for negligence, but in this case, it definitely doesn't seem like there's a lack of trying, which in my opinion makes this case much more scary and much more upsetting. But with that being said, let me know what you guys thought of this video. I typically only cover killers, but in this video I wanted to cover criminals and make the video a bit more dynamic by including different types of people on the list. Let me know what you thought. Also, let me know what you thought about the story-based segment at the beginning. Did you like the storytelling and visuals on screen? Your input means a lot because I want to make videos that you guys enjoy. And the last thing I'll say is, if this is your first Trust Me Bro video, why not subscribe? We make really cool videos and you'll probably like it. Trust me, bro. Peace.
Definitely go check out his channel if you guys haven't. Definitely go subscribe to his channel. All that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? His videos are really good. Really good. I think we've done a couple of his videos now on the channel. Very good videos. He does really good on the editing, the way he does. Just really good. Make sure you guys do go check out his channel. That is going to do it. Check this description. I will have the video and the channel link down below in the description. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can. That is going to do it. Positivity is key. Motivation is key. Happiness is key. I will see you guys in the next one. You guys stay safe. Watch out for each other. I'll see you guys in the next one.